Hey. Hey.
I'll take you for who you are, period.
Thanks, Nick. Cyber, you want to smoke?
Yeah, I can smoke. Give me a second.
Okay. I just started my live show. My phone. I think that's just the notifications from the door. Yeah, that's what that is. Okay, cool. We're good. All right. So
Give me nay in any
hey,
way.
how are...
Fired up for comments.
Great answers from both Nick and Josh G. Anyway, nay. I love it. Thank you. It's very nice of you. Put a smile right on my face. It's kind of a weird day
Hello,
today.
nay. I love all personalities of nay.
That's a lot of people. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I moved the microphone back.
Sis.
Hey, Dave C. Fishing. What's up, buddy?
Sesh.
Sesh. With John Tesh on Channel 2, also known as Wesh. Oh, what? What? Did I just do that? Yes, we've got Sesh. And I've cleaned up my whole area. You might notice it looks a little bit more organized today. I cleaned the last hour. I've been out here. I started around, it was about 4:30. I was like, it's after 4:20, so I'm just going to go ahead and make it nice out here because I come in here and it's not nice, it's not clean, and I don't want to hang out that much. It's dirty. So I vacuumed. I took a rag. I wiped all the surfaces off, dusted, and I got an interesting little anecdote here. My whole life, my mom kind of been, and I've been kind of butting heads about cannabis. Not severely. She's always basically accepted the fact that I was going to use it no matter what. But, in the last few years, she's been using cannabis for her skin and pain and skin cancer and things like that. And it's really been working really well for her. She really likes it. So, she doesn't smoke it. And she thinks I'm crazy still for smoking it. But today, I actually got... My mom said to me, hey, could you make me some more of that oil? So my mom hit me up for some 50/50 for her skin. She's got a little abrasive looking growth on her face. The last time she got one of those, the doctor told her it was a precancerous melanoma, or a one of those things, a precancer. Maybe not a melanoma, but it's on the skin, on the face. So she put my oil on it, 50/50 oil, not the triage, but the 50/50, which is 50% pure THC oil, 50% coconut oil, with a little peppermint in there. And it went away. So that was about a year or two ago. And she's got another one on her face, and she wants to try this before she goes to the doctor. So I made her some today. I thought that was cool. Mom's pro-cannabis, man. Mom's pro-cannabis. All right.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Cyber, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Dave C. Fishing, Patrick John Welder. It's Josh G. and Nick Brown. Wow, nice crowd we got here today. Cheers.
Mom's very cool, bro. You gotta be you. Cheers. Cheers. I just want nay. Nice asshole, it don't matter, just good old nay.
Michael Lasky, what's up, buddy? The camera looks great today, huh? Nice and clear. It's nice when everything's working. You can see everything. You can even see outside. You can see inside and outside. It's because it's not sunny outside. It just rained, so it cooled everything off. And that's great.
Back to having seizures again. Fun.
I'm sorry, Michael. That sucks. God bless America. So, I got into it with this girl on Twitter. I did go back over to Twitter just to kind of troll a little bit. And when I'm angry about something, I leave it on Twitter and walk away. You know, like a fart. Like I fart in somebody's house and then walk out really quick. You know, and let it waft around in there. That's what I did at Elon's house. I like to go in Elon's house and fart and then walk out the door and close it behind me. Go back over to Threads and be nice to people. It sounds funny, right? At the same time, it's totally true. People that are on Twitter should come over to Threads.
Yeah, I haven't been to the T in a week.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying it. Get a lot of anti-DeSantis shit there, you know. It's great. So, I put up a tweet and I said, what's up with the whole can't say colored people? You know, what's up with that? I didn't realize that was off limits. No, you cannot say colored people, you know. I thought we went from black people, you know, we couldn't say black people, so now we could say colored people. That was the more socially acceptable way. Nope, you cannot say that. It's now racist to say colored people, right? You might be surprised or you might not be surprised. It depends on how avant-garde you are on the internet, how in tune you are with the latest trends. You know, and if you watch someone like Destiny all the time, you would probably know that that term is not acceptable in almost all circles.
I was surprised.
I was surprised too. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, okay, I guess I kind of get it. At the same time, once again, it's that narrative pushed down our throats that we don't like. It's going to end up working against
What about
who's
African
pushing it.
American? Does that crash now too?
It better not be, bro, because they're...
A white dude who
Is
got
there even a
very
technical
decent
term
voice
like Caucasian?
on behalf of some black dude, so now we cannot call them colored people no more. I mean, ask a fucking black dude if you want to be called black or colored or whatever you want to call him. I don't think he's gonna have a fucking preference as long as you treat him nice.
Yeah, I don't think that... I think that what Cyber says resonates. You know, I completely agree. And we're pushing, when we push these narratives so hard, we're pushing too far, and you're not achieving what you want to achieve, which is to get everybody on the same table. What you're trying to do is hold things against people, you know, hold their words against them and wag your finger at them, go one up on people. That's never healthy. And that's what you're doing. You're going one up on somebody else. You're like, oh, you didn't know you weren't supposed to say. You're not in the club. You're still a racist. You're not, you know, in tune with everything that's going on today. I guess I'm not, and I'm on the internet. I talk to people all day, and I didn't even know that that term was no longer acceptable. But I digress. So I'll go to Twitter to, you know, go fart in Elon's house and walk out. And, I left a pretty stinky one in there. You know what I did? I said, you know, so saying colored people is no
I
longer
didn't with her until you told me.
acceptable. People of color, when are they going to? Is that, you know? Let me show you the tweet. Let me just get right to the tweet.
How did you find out? News to me too.
How did I find out? That's the most interesting part. Is how I found out. I was watching CNN this morning, and there was this whole thing. There was this, we talked about on this today's show. There was a representative, I think it was in the House, that he was trying to push a bill, and the bill is anti-LGBTQ. He doesn't want LGBTQ people in the military. I'm against that. That's fucking stupid. You know, who, if you want to go fight, if you want to give your life for me, I don't care how you consider your sexuality or your gender. You know, you're willing to take bullets for me? Thank you for your service. I don't care if you're gay, trans, Q, whatever the heck you are. I don't care. Thank you.
I watched that too.
You know, if you're out in the desert and you need water, and if you don't get water in the next hour, you're going to die, and a trans person walks up to you with a canteen of ice water, are you going to refuse it, you fucking cunts? Does that make sense? Stop hating people based on their differences, based on their genders, based on any of that shit. You take the water. So 100%. Shut up. You're a fucking hypocrite. You would take the water. Okay? So just treat everybody equally. That's the message, right? I'm watching CNN, and this guy in the house...
Someone's pluming shouldn't matter if you're not with them.
He's trying to push this stupid fucking bill. He doesn't want LGBTQ people in the military, and I think that's fucking stupid. But I'm paying attention, and while he's having the conversation, he's like, look, I'm not talking about colored people, and he's like, then he said that, and he goes, people of color, or, you know, or then he goes, African Americans, or something else. I don't remember exactly how it was said, but it was basically along those lines. And a woman, an African American older woman, she interrupted him and said, I demand that the term colored people be stricken from the record. And the guy that was in charge of the whole thing, right, this is what we do. We censor each other. We strike terms from the record. What do you mean? So it was never said? What, are you trying to change history? I don't understand what stricken from the record means. Maybe that means highlighted and brought to light and admonished for, you know, saying something that you shouldn't have said. I don't know. I don't know what stricken from the record means. It doesn't make sense if it means you're erasing or deleting it, because that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like you're deleting it from the record. Maybe somebody could Google that shit. Or chat GPT that shit for me.
In legal terms, that is fucking remove it from the record.
Erase it, yeah.
So it never existed.
Weird. Well, he said a term. She didn't like it. She was offended by it. And the reason why she's offended by it is that term is no longer acceptable, guys. We can't say colored people.
Sounds like a privileged term we common folk don't have access to.
Are you ready for the fun part, guys? Here's the fun part of all of this. So I was on Twitter, and I put this tweet up, and I'm going to try to find it. And a girl responded to me, and she was going to mansplain to me. She's going to tell me why, right? Because, you know, I'm confused about the whole thing, and, you know, I'm a boomer, I guess. I need some boomer splaining, you know, or whatever. Whatever these kids think. What she said to me was, okay, my tweet is right here. This is interesting. I'll bring it up on screen. Okay, here you go. My tweet was, why is the term colored people offensive or any different than the term people of color? Maybe get over it, CNN, because they made a big deal about it this morning. So many posts contain the term white people that I ain't having this bullshit. You know, that's my tweet right there. The response to that was because of this sign your grandfather made. And, you know, in all fairness to her for saying that, you know, they might not have had a sign that said, you know, no colored allowed, but there was. Why can't I move this? This is so weird. There we go. Hold on. Grabbing the wrong thing here. There was at my father's company. There was a fucking sign. Not my grandfather, my father's company. There was a sign.
Good day, Nate and Trendies.
And it had something to do with who was allowed to use the bathroom or the water or something. And this was at my father's company.
Quite frankly,
Latinos, Hispanics, Japanese also or were considered colored.
Also, I mean, colored. That means colors. It's not just a reference to a fucking group of people. Colored have a fucking meaning, like no and allowed. I mean,
yeah. Well, I'm just saying, you know, she makes a comment. She says, because of the sign your grandfather made. My grandfather actually didn't have a sign like that on his farm. My grandfather had a farm.
I get totally what she's saying, but at some point, We have to fucking stop giving words so much power we can no longer use them. I mean, it's
Right. Right. It's right. You're right. And I'm not even at the sweetest part of all of this, you guys. Just wait, because this is so good. So, it just so happens that I'll ask my mom what the sign said. My grandfather employed this man. His name was Leroy. He was an African American. I knew him when I was a kid. I remember him. He was amazing. He was an awesome guy. And Leroy went to my father and said, there's a sign on the bathroom or the water or something, and it said whites only or something like that. And he said, I want to take that sign down. And my father said, go ahead. Now, I believe my father wasn't the one who put the sign there. I believe that they bought the building and the sign was already there. But I digress. My grandfather had a butler it was a plaster of Paris type outdoor statue. These were very common in the 50s and the 60s, and this was like a family heirloom, but it was a black person, and it was someone that was wearing kind of like a butler's outfit that stands outside your home. And if I remember correctly, Leroy painted. There's some noise coming from your cyber.
I don't know what to do about it.
What is it?
Mean, I'm not.
Oh yeah, my friend had a horse one.
I mean, how should I fuck know?
I don't know.
I'm playing a video game.
Oh, is that a video game? Is that the video game you're playing? Is your sound on? Maybe that's what it is. There was a moment, I guess, when everything changed in the social spectrum, the political view of people in the state of Florida changed, and it was no longer acceptable for that statue to be an
3-foot
African,
tall Afro-American lawn jockey.
Yes, exactly, a lawn jockey. Exactly, that's exactly what it was. And Leroy painted it the face Caucasian. So this was a process that my family went through, and with Leroy, who was a dear family friend and an employee of my grandfather and my father, that I witnessed growing up, right? So I was exposed to all of this. I was exposed to the racism, and I was exposed to the putting it behind us, putting it in the past. So when she says this, fair enough. There was some of this going on in around my family. So I give her that, right? So I say to her, because I'm looking at that, it says no colored allowed. And I say a few things. I say, let me guess, you never say white people, right? Also, she says, this is hilarious. Where's all the responses? I say, show me where on the sign it says colored people.
What about no Jews, Irish, and dog signs, bro?
That's got nothing to do with what we're talking about. Shut the fuck up for a second, all right? Shut the fuck up. Show me where on the sign it says colored people, but even with this reasoning, the term people of color should be banned as well. Am I right? Because color. Because I'm trying to get the sign on here. Because that sign says color on it. So is the term people of color no longer allowed? I'm assuming it's just a matter of time. I decided to check her Twitter feed, because you can do this on Twitter. You can just type in her name, and I typed in white people. I was just kind of curious to see how, maybe she feels about using a term that, blankets a whole group together and calls them, what I guess you perceive them to be, white people. And guess what I found? She says, right to me, right there, critical thinking is hard for white people. She says it right here. She says it right there, white people. So, colored people, no good. But she can say white people when referring to me and people like me. Doesn't that seem hypocritical, ironic? And like she says this is hilarious. So then I find this from her tweet post history. She says, white people claim black people are the real racists, but ban history from teaching about it. So I'm Ron DeSantis, everybody. See how that worked? She used the term white people negatively to talk about all white people, to claim that we're all responsible for something that someone like Ron DeSantis is doing. And she goes like that with Will Smith. And I go, I don't know, seems kind of racist, right? White people. Really? Show more replies. You think racism is calling you what you are? Wow, the way failing up has made you miss mass IQ drop. That got 2 views. Because a conversation between an African American woman and a white male, shouldn't be seen by anybody, according to Elon, the free speech absolutist. I think she deserves more views than that. No, I don't think calling. Watch this. No.
Yo son, what up?
No, I don't think calling people what they are is racist. Hence the term people of color. But you're going to want to ban that term soon too, I bet. I think it's an interesting conversation because I was unaware that people were offended by that term, colored people. When the term people of color is completely acceptable.
Good afternoon, Nate. Those apes look juicy.
Thank you. She says I'm failing up, and I'm like, that term has nothing to do with this conversation. Failing up means you're getting rewarded for, your errors. Like we see people in tech industry, like we see fucking re-engineers getting paid to fuck up our software. That's failing up. You know what I'm doing? What's my reward for sitting here saying that on Twitter? It doesn't even make sense. She's saying terms she doesn't even understand. How am I rewarded for not understanding a term? You know, not understanding that it's what used to be acceptable, 2 months ago is no longer acceptable. Welcome to 2023. I must have missed the 2023 memo. And I guess Cyber did too. You missed the memo, bro? I didn't get it.
Yeah, apparently.
Didn't get the memo. Now we know.
I want middle-aged white male strict from every fucking dictionary. I'm offended. It's fucking racist to call me a middle-aged white male.
I just love white people.
I mean,
I just love it when
it
they
has
say
to be,
white
right?
people. I've said it so many times on here. I'm like, what's with that whole white people thing? You know?
No memos here, cheers.
You didn't get the memo, Airfat? That's because you're a goddamn dictator lover. I can't help you, bro. You glorify people who oppress other people to push their agenda on them. Do you desire to live under the rule of a dictator? And you know what? You know what I'd failed to do, Cyber? I failed to realize that there have to be people who are willing to support a dictator and to live underneath a dictator's rule. I mean, that's how dictators fall into power.
Yeah.
That's how.
Haven't you seen? I cannot pronounce the right term for it, but
The chat is louder than cyber volume, bro, yet I like to flip stuff to make people think.
So you cut them off knowing that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
There's a generation of usually older people in the 70s and above, and they always support the regime, and they line up to protest for fucking Putin and Xi Jinping and shit. I mean, so it's already there, that mentality is already there, man. When you have grown up with that shit and been pushed down your throat for fucking 60, 70 years, man, you're apparently so fucking brainwashed that you just stand up for the fucking depression and system.
Right.
Babushkas, I think they call it babushkas, war grandmas or something like that. It's actually quite comical when you see them, but when you think about it, it's really not comical.
Yay. Genius. Genius, I say. So, that was an interesting exchange over there. I thought you guys might get a kick out of that. When I went through her tweets, it turned out a whole bunch of people were calling her out on the fact that she uses the term white people a lot.
Also me, but not for me. It's fucking always like that.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Rogan. So the market dropped today. Huge drop. About 5 hours ago.
You want to smoke?
Yes. This out here. Yes, yes. All right. I am ready. Cheers, Cyber.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, everybody. Jeff Lund, what's up, buddy? My Cadillac has a $0 trade-in value.
Yeah.
It's hilarious because when I drive that car, it's like worth $1 million to me. Fucking love it. And it's not in new condition. There's tears and little worn spots and stuff. dings and scratches. I saved so much money by not having a brand new car and driving that. I'm going to put those pneumatic lifts on the back tonight. Those are going to come in tonight. I'm going to install those. That's going to be a fun little thing. Take a couple minutes.
Nice.
Wow, synthetics is the only one that's up big time, and that one's up 25%. That's the one Alex Mashinsky stole from me. He was claiming to give me like 18%. 18% return on just holding it in Celsius. Fucking piece of shit. Stupid, dude. I always try to grab the top of the window on Windows 11 to move it if it's full screen, to drag it down. And of course you can't do that anymore because some re-engineer decided to change that.
I saw a video today, and remember I talked about the charcoal wheel? How a guy, he spotted how people they were hacking because he was leaning from side to side and got the hackers to lean from side to side and spot them that way.
Right?
Yeah. He put up a new video where it's not even a new thing, but they use, I cannot remember the term for it right now, but it's a card, like a fucking PCI card you plug into your PC, and that will read everything that goes through the RAM and send that to a second laptop where you have a program running, so you can see where everyone is in the game if you're playing a game and shit like that. And that will not be detected at all by any fucking hacking anti-software, because it's not software, it's fucking hardware, dude. And it's a lot of people in that video. A lot of people fucking use it. They're fucking mind blowing. I mean, and it's in no matter what game we're talking about, it's fucking used, man. Counter-Strike, COD, Tarkov, all the big games, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
See if
shit.
I can find the link. You don't have to watch it now, but it's kind of an interesting video, especially when you know that Tarkov Wico thing. And and the reason he made that video, he bossed one of his fucking friends for hacking. And he get a real hacker to fucking track him down and confirm his fucking hacking and shit, and then he called him out on it.
Hacking in a game,
video.
like cheating.
Yeah. But it's a long video. I'll link it to you in Discord. But that I knew that some people would use hardware to cheat and shit, but I had no idea that it was so open and so many people fucking use that you're just going to eBay or buy that card if you want to, you know.
What's a game without God mode? Haha cheers.
I mean, you can cheat all you want in the single player game, I wouldn't give a fuck. But in a multiplayer game where you end up fucking ruining the experience for everyone else, that fucking sucks, dude.
There's no sound here.
Investigate how many hackers are there? How do they operate? What motivates them? But the video evolved into something a little different. I cannot believe I got in the same raid with him. I got a message from Evoker. He's a hacker. And he agreed to do some interviews with me. And I told him about a buddy I thought was hacking. And he just happened to get into a raid with him randomly. So you're the white one, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. He's definitely scanning this way. You see this? And now he chooses to leave.
Leaving dorms now?
He's leaving. He's leaving on the hills.
I mean, you can just tell me what to do and I'll probably do it. Like, if you just want to, like...
maybe just follow him out. He's going to Stronghold. Is the power on?
Yep.
He's gonna leave. He's gonna leave. He's gone.
Yeah.
There's a board in the middle of that.
How about that?
I need to text my friend Clara right now.
So I cheated in random games on chess.com.
So we're gonna go over a few ground rules. Number one, I'm gonna keep everybody involved in this anonymous. And I know many of you would like to have anybody involved with hacking to have their proverbial head on a pike. That's not what this video is about. This video is about enacting meaningful change, challenging the majority consensus on the state of hacking in Escape from Tarkov and gaming as a whole. And lastly, I don't want to encourage the idea that cheating is way more rampant than it actually is, or that there's really no solution to the problem. And with that in mind, let's continue. He's in the raid with... I think he's cheating. So like I said, I started a video a few months ago about the hacking community. And during this process, I came to the realization that one of my friends, a Discord mod, a trusted Twitch moderator in my community, was likely cheating. And so I thought, how can I find something that's 100% proof? What can I do? I've been making this video about hacking, and I had sent messages out to hackers, and one of them was Evoker.
Yola.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Meet Raffle. He's the hacker in the previous clip who killed me. He's an interesting character, but he's not going to be much use to us. Everything he says is a lie. So I just thought I'd pick your brain a little bit, if that's all right.
Gonna pick my brain. Okay, go for it.
How easy is it right now to get the software and everything?
Software? What? What are you talking about?
What software?
He's cheating.
What?
What?
Meet Evoker. He's a careful hacker, and while I don't approve of his cheating, he's been the most reasonable and honest hacker I've ever run into. That's after he's done covering for his bike.
Yeah, this is my third account I'm getting the Kappa. I've already gone to to Kappa this way.
Eventually, after about 30 to 45 minutes of back and forth, I gained their trust, and they opened up to me about what they're up to. What would you say is the safest map, the map that you just hate going to? Is like a waste of your time?
Wood.
I mean, woods?
Yep.
Because just the average gear is so low, or there's just not a lot of good stuff on there, or what?
Just like noobs play it.
The hackers that you run into, do you see any discrepancy between white name, EOD level? Is there anything?
Nope.
Yeah, that's what I
EODs
figured
are,
too.
there are, in an average lobby, like, there's only like one normal account and the rest are EODs, and if they're a cheater, they're most likely EOD.
And I started watching their group play. And this is what it looks like. They have a separate map running on another computer that shows them what's going on. This was the map I was watching
Great
when
smoke,
I was
sir.
tracking down my friend in that raid earlier.
Cheers.
I came up with a
Cheers,
plan
bro. Cheers,
to
everybody.
stop my friend
Cheers, bro.
and collect what we needed.
Play with you guys, and I'll be able to tell by his movements and how he reacts to players if he's cheating or not.
Dude, I'll promise you this.
Yeah.
I promise you,
Yeah.
he is probably not hacking because coding cheats in video games is very niche. You can't just Google how to code a cheat in a video game.
Now you might be asking, why am I trying so hard to catch
Cheers.
my friend cheating? Because he wasn't just my moderator. I put him in charge with communicating with people who joined my Discord, and not just anyone. I had specifically put him in charge to talk to people who were banned. And why were people joining my Discord who were banned? Let's do a quick recap of what happened last year. The sponsor of today's video is me.
Like and subscribe to be notified of new content.
I read every comment. I appreciate your support. Now let's get back to the video. Let's do a quick recap of what happened in the past.
That's funny.
During the 12/12 wipe in 2021, the Escape from Tarkov game wiped everyone's account and launched a big patch. During that update, they added additional anti-cheat measures. One of those measures added the serial numbers of motherboards to the list of hardware bans. This is a good thing, but unfortunately, a handful of motherboards did not report unique serial numbers. Anyone with this motherboard got a ban. I established a contact with the BSG employee, and long story short, we got thousands of accounts unbanned. People heard about this, and ever since, I get people trying to contact me to help them get unbanned. Unbeknownst to me at the time, I had a hacker as the team lead running intel on the whole thing. Before we get too much into this, let's just first talk about how cheats work. And this is going to get a bit technical, and if you already know all this stuff, just hang in with me for a few minutes. So to make sure that we're all on the same page, we're going to learn how a computer works with one of my favorite analogies. So the first thing to understand is that a motherboard and a computer connects everything together. So you can think of the motherboard as the support structures. So the legs, even the chair, and even the floor. And then you have your hard drive. And you can think of the hard drive as anything that you can put on your desk.
This is
If
the
you
worst
want a big
analogy
hard
I've
drive,
ever
you
seen in
could
my
install
entire
a
life.
bookshelf underneath.
You know,
This
it's
also
actually
could be
gonna
considered
end
a
up
hard
being
drive
good
down here,
in
this
the
little storage rack right here. Then there's the RAM, okay? The RAM is like your hands,
It really is, bro.
okay? Your hands are RAM. What the hands do is they hold stuff, and they allow you to work on only a few things at one time. And this is an important knowledge milestone that we must understand. And then you have your CPU. And your CPU does all of the work. It's the central processing unit. He does all the thinking. And he uses the hands to do all the work. And when you're playing a video game, all of the information, all of the data about the locations of everyone on the map, or what they're doing, where they're
Is that a
going,
picture
how
of
much health they
Saddam
have,
Hussein?
where items are, is eventually going to, at one point, pass through, you guessed it, the RAM. It's going to pass through the RAM. And what if you could access this information on your computer undetected? Let me introduce you to DMA devices. They're direct memory access devices. And what they do is they allow you to access the memory and send that information over to another computer. And not only can you access the memory, but you can alter and change the memory and what is going on your computer. It's this guy right here. It's a small chip that goes into the PCI slot of a motherboard. So what the hacker will do is they'll take their gaming computer, or in reality it's much smaller than this, they'll take the DMA device and they will plug it into their gaming computer. What this DMA device does is it will directly access the memory without using any software, without any program running on the actual computer. And then what the hacker will do is use a separate computer. And it doesn't even have to be anything fancy. It could just be like a Raspberry Pi or something like that. And they will connect their computer to the DMA device. The important takeaway here is that the hacking software is not running on the gaming computer. The cheating software is running on the second computer. The hacking software has the ability to change and view the memory in real time. And the question you might have is, how do some hackers get caught? You can actually get caught using one of these DMA devices or something that's running on another computer. You get caught when you utilize a feature that is detected. And this is not exclusive to Escape from Tarkov. This works in Counter-Strike and other games as well. And shout out to Sparkles. He interviewed a Counter-Strike cheat developer and explained how a crouch spam feature got detected one time.
Got once detected. Okay. You can see it on the forum right now. It's on the menu. Not detected itself, you know. It's just a feature. It was the infinite duck. You know when you're like ducking fast and up?
Yeah. So there's no cooldown.
Yeah, no cooldown.
Infinite.
Yes. It was detected one time. It was like 1 or 2 years ago.
Just a little feature.
Yeah, just a little feature.
And there are loads of examples of this. Most of these guys run around with unlimited sprint bars, unlimited stamina, no recoil, a lot of other things. If someone's reasonably careful, they don't use aimbot, they don't use a lot of these features that can be detected, how can you catch them? If you've ever played Escape from Tarkov, I'm sitting in a really odd spot right now. It's not impossible for someone to spot me. What? But it's highly unlikely that getting shot from that direction was legit. Because I'm curious, I'm a glutton for punishment, I enter the area to see if my suspicion can be confirmed. As I run closer, I hear other players die left and right. This guy is rage hacking. I run up on another player and use proximity chat to see if the guy wants some help. He confuses me for the hacker. Buddy, you want to team up?
No, buddy, you're cheating.
No. That's not me shooting at you. That's somebody else.
I'm done. I'm done.
Oh, no. run up to loot the bodies. The guy had a thermal on him. I try to get as much of their stuff as quickly as I can, but the hacker's able to chase me down and run right to my location. My only defense is a good grenade here, but the hacker head-eyes me through bushes. So here's another example. I spotted this guy above the ground, and he had some of the worst player movement I've seen in a long time. He instantly tracked me as he stepped out into an open area, and I suspected he was cheating. And like the good investigator that I am, I had to test my theory out. I started recording and silently walked down to where he was. Bullshit. So why do I know with near 100% certainty that this player is cheating, but the anti-software in the game doesn't? To answer that question, we're going to watch how the Counter-Strike community detects cheaters. They use a system called Overwatch, where reputable members of the community earn the right to spectate game footage from players who were reported for cheating. This is nothing. He was one of my favorite professional Counter-Strike players back in the day. Watch as he uses his game sense and understanding to decipher if a player is legit or not.
So far we have the suspect. Good pre-aim.
And just for clarification, nothing is watching a demo of the match. This allows him to have ESP, meaning he sees the suspect's enemies through the map. This helps him see if the suspect is actually tracking people through walls.
Alright. Wait a sec. He's doing a good job of not knowing, like looking. I don't know what aim is this? I don't know. Oh. Looks like a little bit of correction happening in this cross, but I can't tell yet. So, like, this is the thing, right? He's got a skin. You don't know. The key with this stuff is watch a couple rounds and not going into it with too strong of a bias. Like, oh wait, B-hop script? Okay, he doesn't give up anymore, dude. I was having fun. Yes, yes, yes. Insufficient evidence.
Tarkov doesn't have Overwatch, and I can't review RAS footage, but I did have a Voker who could join the same raid we were in and give me the next best thing. And even though I had all of the evidence that I needed, I wanted to be 100% sure that he was cheating. It was time to see what would happen when a Voker joined the same raid. It would be too obvious if he was in our party, so I hosted the group, told Evoker what servers I was on, and we both looked for the raid at the same time. After a few tries, we got into the same raid. And what do you know? Oh, shit. I died about 2 minutes into the raid. It turns out it was our only shot because had to go. But I hopped into a private channel with Evoker and we discussed the raid.
No, he's 100% cheating. Just alone by the stats, you can have an APM CKD at level 61 and not cheating. You're 100% cheating.
Remember how the DMA devices work? When Evoker finally got into the same raid as us, he was able to pull all the information, including the stats, off of account. He sent it to me in the screenshot over Discord.
Rengar has a 10 KD. Yeah, world's first Gappy, and he's a 10 flat 10 KD and like a 2.3 PMC. I have Rengar's dog tag actually. I killed him yesterday. 8 PMC KD? That's you're cheating. And any sort of risk instantly flicks to whatever target's opposing him, and 1 or 2 bullets and they're dealt with. That's what I saw.
Yeah. What I'll say about is he's smart enough to not do like the most crazy blatant stuff.
Yeah. Well, his stats are just a giveaway.
He knows he can hide the stats from me, but he can't hide the stats from you.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that I can't see his stats. But what I'll tell you is I have my own internal clock. And, I've been playing with for a while, and I can't remember one example where he died after I died.
Yeah, that's a giveaway, man.
Like, anytime I die, because I'm not watching, I'm not there, he just cleans up and kills everybody no matter what. And I'm like, dude, you have to eventually run into, like, a hacker or somebody who's just gonna kill you, like, no matter what, right? Like...
Yeah, exactly. We're like, oh, where was that guy?
He also
like,
he always wears, like, Rise tees and stuff. And it's like... But he has
a hacker uniform.
He has great awareness no matter what, because he doesn't care about sound. Like, he's fine, right? And
they're gonna argue my perception skill's high enough. Like, perception doesn't just annihilate the fact that Rich T distorts your sound. Like, I don't understand why people say that.
His communication is garbage, right? Like, he never
says, calms. He didn't calm at all. I was trying to like calm just because like that's what you do.
He doesn't play like a normal player. Like he doesn't.
He doesn't because he's cheating.
Here's the thing: for him to play that well, he's in the top like thousands of a % of the player base. Like,
oh, dude, his stats are better than Landmarks and Rangers combined.
Yeah.
He has cheater stats. Those are cheater stats.
He has more than cheater stats, right?
Yeah.
And so,
Those
but
are rage hacker
his game
stats.
sense and knowledge, like, yeah, he like kills people and he's effective and all that, but like how he actually plays is not good. Like he doesn't
That's
do
actually
anything.
insane because he was kind of closet, and like for a closet cheater to have these stats, that's insane. He doesn't die.
I know this is kind of lame, but I want something that's like undeniable.
If you want more proof, but like
yeah.
You can't get undeniable proof in this game since there's no spectating.
And Evoker was right. There was never going to be this single piece of evidence that I could point to confirm that he was cheating. So I finally just confronted him, and he admitted to cheating. And now I knew. And my fear of him accusing me of a false accusation was squelched. I was standing right here in this spot in my kitchen when I first found out that was 100% cheating.
That's funny.
It was Sunday, I was making food, and I got the message from Evoker that he was in the raid with him. And I saw that and my heart sunk. And every time I go into the kitchen, this great sense of trauma, depression, anxiety. Okay, that last part is not true. We all know what it's like to die to a hacker, especially in a game like Escape from Tarkov, where you might play for 45 minutes, getting task items and accomplishing a lot of important things in the game, and to have it just stolen from you, it just feels terrible. But what about the effects of finding out that your friend was cheating, or having played with a cheater for a long period of time? He did tell me that when he first started cheating, the justification was to help his friends out. So I wanted to investigate this idea a little bit further. So I interviewed a few of his friends who I know have played with him a lot. Was it a net benefit having him on your team cheating and looking out for you?
I'm going to just flat out, simple answer is no, and here's why.
This is atomic logic, and if you've watched my YouTube shorts or TikToks, you've seen this guy.
You go into it, and a new player to any game is going to look at an experienced player and want to try to mirror them and reflect them. Okay, I'm the new guy. Here's a guy who's quote-unquote experienced. I need to be just like him. So you start, following their patterns, following their play style. And when you find that you've been playing the game for 6-7 months and you still haven't learned anything about the game, you're still losing every fight, you start to question whether you're even good enough to play that game, right? So it gets you very disheartened to want to even continue trying to get good at the game, because in your own personal opinion on your own skill set, you're like, maybe I'm just not cut out for this because I'm not getting the same results as that person even 6 months later.
Like, I was getting a lot more money with him there. It almost felt like easy mode.
This is my friend Fluffy, and he has a somewhat different perspective on the matter.
He knows where to go, so he'd probably tell you, like, hey, loop around this way. And you'd be like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea, I'll do that. You'd always be in a good position. It would always be a controlled environment.
It made me not want to play with that person just because I knew that there was never going to be a chance that, like, I was the better player, I got the better gear, I got the better kill, because I always knew going into a match with that person, I was the lesser of the two. Because friendly competition between your peers is very normal, and it's what strives to make games better, especially these co-op survival games, right? You want to be the guy that got more gear, better kills, but with this person, no matter what you did, no matter how much of a sweat you were, no matter how much you played it safe, whatever you did, you were literally always second best.
Yeah. Have you thought about whether you would play with somebody who's cheated in the past?
Like, you start to look more closely at what they're doing, the trust isn't, like, completely there, and, you have to kind of, like, build that stuff back up, kind of like a relationship, quote unquote. But at the end of the day, if he's a nice guy, he's a nice guy. And that's perfectly fine with me.
Whoa. But the larger question was still unanswered. Rather than looking at like motivations such as real money trading or ego or trying to promote your stream, because when it comes down to it, everybody wants to win. Everybody has those same goals in a game. They want to be on top. They want to win. The difference between a normal person, a legit player, and a cheater has two attributes that a normal player does not have. And the first one being the desire to cheat. There's not like a human being behind this thing. It's just like I feel like I'm talking to somebody who's like almost like Siri, they're just like, that does not comply. You're just like, what is going on here?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Because in Counter-Strike, it's a very weird phenomenon. People in Counter-Strike that cheat, they talk in a different manner. Like they have like a weird like HVH. They have a weird dialect, cheating dialect. It's kind of weird, but it's definitely a thing. People that cheat for a long time, they definitely talk different.
Just like the kind of words they use, or the kind of like what do you mean,
Just their mannerisms and the way they speak and the way they like there's one time I just stands out to me. This guy was cheating and I could he wasn't like being blatant with it, but I'm like, this guy's probably cheating. And I started talking to him, and he talked like a cheater. I'm like, yeah, just that way he's talking, like I knew. And then I added him, and then he was cheating. He confessed after the game.
And when I say that cheaters have a desire, I don't mean that they have the same desire to win and be the best that nearly all gamers have. They have a deep insecurity stemming from a childhood dysfunction, trauma, or some kind of personality disorder. Do you remember Raffle? Listen to the way he deflects my questions. He's a very insecure person.
If I was hacking, I would tell you, because I don't give a fuck, because I am the boss.
I later realized that he worked in construction.
There's this idea that you get to pretend like you're a landmark, you know, and you get to have that dopamine hit. How much do you pay for the software?
I don't pay. I am a coder. I'm a software engineer.
Okay.
In reality, let me tell this to you. I got my master's degree in computer science, right? And I got my minor in quantum physics. I don't really need the money. It's like a side hobby that I do for fun, because I like to learn. You understand that?
There's nothing wrong with working in construction. Hell,
That's
I
how he
worked a blue-collar
rationalizes he
firefighter
cheats
job
in a
for over 10
video
years.
game.
The world needs to get built. Stuff needs
That
to
is
get
a
done.
long
And for
way
whatever
to
reason,
go,
he's
bro.
insecure about that. And even in an alternative
It's
universe
a
where
long
the magic
walk.
guy knows how to code cheats, cheating in video games doesn't expand your knowledge about the world. The second attribute is the capacity to cheat. I asked Evoker why he wouldn't consider playing legit.
I don't know. I'm playing video game. I'm wasting time, but that's just what I'm doing here. But if I'm playing legit and I'm playing this raid and I die at the very end or something, it's just like, what was even the point of playing that raid if I just played for 30 minutes and dying at the very end? And I just don't want to deal with any of that. Or dying by like some extra camper or some guy sitting in a tree. I can't be asked to deal with it.
Notice how he talks about cheating in the same way that you would talk about putting on a jacket when it's cold. Like, obviously, you would just put on a jacket when it's cold, as if there's like no effects on anyone else. There's no acknowledgement that in order to cheat and play the game the way that he wants to, will inevitably ruin the experience of everyone around him. Or it will create the same experience that he is trying to avoid. And now that the dust is settled and the cheating scandal has been dealt with, should I continue to play games like Escape from Tarkov knowing what I know now, knowing that there will be cheaters in raids in the future and I will die to them and not a whole lot will be done about it? And the truth is, as technology gets better and better, cheating is going to get easier and easier. Take a look at this. Kamal Carter created an aimbot that tracks video using a webcam and physically controls the mouse. It's completely undetectable from a software perspective. Is there a solution? Is this the death of first-person shooters as we know it? It's easy to confuse the forest with the trees. We would like to hold every individual 100% accountable, and I don't want to diminish their responsibility. Everybody who cheats or distributes cheats is responsible for what they're doing. But I lock my door at night. And I don't leave an expensive watch sitting on the table when I'm at a hotel and I know room service is going to be in to clean the room.
Imagine how that would help people that, you know, are paralyzed and shit.
Security isn't free. And as time moves forward, anti-cheat measures are going to consume more money and more time of developers. Developers need to have some kind of human interaction, some kind of human element to combat cheating. It's the only way forward. Software detection is a pipe dream. Perhaps we will have AI algorithms that look at gameplay and look at stats to help filter through the vast amount of reports so that humans can take a look. And I don't think anyone truly knows how many cheaters are out there or ever will. But that doesn't mean you can't get good at spotting cheaters and that you can't find some of them or at least level the playing field. It just means that if someone wants to hide their cheats and they don't want you to know that they're cheating, you can't know. But if games like Escape from Tarkov had an Overwatch-style system of anti-cheat, at least the hackers would be forced to play in a way that normal players play. And if a cheater had to mask his gameplay to look like a legit player, would a player like myself who's legit, would my experience of dying to a cheater feel better? Hey there, thanks for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you like this content, one of the best ways to communicate that is to subscribe, to be notified of future content. Leave a comment, give me some feedback, negative or positive. I'm also gonna leave some information in the description box of like ways that you can help. For instance, I would really like to get my Discord boosted so when I do interviews and other recordings, I can actually record in 1080p and I'm not stuck to like a lower standard in my Discord. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next video.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're having a lovely day. Today I'd like to talk about Influx Data. This is a cloud database provider that has closed down some of their server locations, seemingly to save cost in one of the worst ways you could ever imagine. This is a thread on their forum. I'm using hosted influx database on Europe West 1. Now this weekend I'm seeing weird behavior in my dashboard, missing or incomplete data that changes between refreshed. I see this behavior on all dashboards. I see this message. Retention on all my buckets is forever. Could this be the cause? I hope I'm not losing my data. I did not get emails from Influx database about this change. Can anyone elaborate on this? Same here. All of my buckets just got deleted. I too have received no email notification about this despite receiving other Influx database emails. This is a catastrophic communication breakdown, particularly since there are no brownouts in the lead-up. I guess we'll see if Influx data kept backups for this. And as you scroll, you'll see more and more people have these issues. I think GCP Europe West 1 data is gone with the wind now, lol. Same issue here. You cannot just shut down a service without informing your customer via mail. What are the solutions for us that do not involve data loss? And one person says here, as stated in InfluxDB Cloud regions in their documentation, to continue service after June 30th, 2023, Influx database cloud accounts in these regions must be migrated to different regions. For information on migrating, see here. Now, this is particularly interesting. If you provide a service that people are utilizing for data storage, like a cloud database, they're probably not looking at the server documentation on a regular basis. They may look at the documentation when they set it up, but they're probably not checking back at the documentation on a regular basis to see if there's a new document that's been added to the knowledge base that explains that this service is going to stop working and all your data will be deleted by a particular date. That's just, again, I've been dealing with web hosting stuff since around 2003, and this is just not the way that you typically tend to communicate with your customers. One of the customers here points this out. Yes, we were never informed about this. We have a running use case and are not in the habit of checking documentation every week, just in case our service gets canceled without prior warning. Influx data should have seen that instances in these regions still had read and write access and informed all affected customers. And someone comes out having the same problem. Another victim here. According to support, the notification emails were sent to users on February 23rd, April 6th, and May 15th. However, we did not receive those at all. And many other people in this thread are also saying, I receive other emails from you. I never got this one. The support also mentioned that restoring data from Belgium now is impossible as the region has been discontinued. I would say the service quality is a bit dodgy. We are considering alternative solutions. Wow, we are considering Influx database in the cloud for a future workload. That's off the table. Hope you guys don't suffer from data loss. And somebody here says, hi all, I'm ever so sorry that the closure of these clusters has unexpectedly hit you. To confirm the information given by support, communication was delivered in the following ways. The user interface was updated with the closure message for these regions. The status.influxdata.com website provides a notification. We sent out emails on the following dates, which again, many people here are saying they never received. Thank you, but it seems your efforts weren't enough. We do not connect to the user interface on a regular basis as we use Grafana to query the data, but I worked personally with the user interface since February, and I didn't see any message in the UI. If I noticed this message, I would have taken action. Where and when was we supposed to see this message? We weren't aware of this status.influxdata.com until we encountered problems this weekend, the weekend that their stuff stopped working because the instance was taken offline and seemingly deleted. And 3, we didn't receive any email.
Thank you.
Absolutely any email. We performed a search in multiple mailboxes, including the one where we received your newsletter. I searched your blog, nothing about this discontinuation. I searched on the web, nothing, nor on your Twitter account. Another person says, can agree 100% with Julian. We've checked every possible email and there is no mention of the closure. And it just keeps going on and on and on. And this really reads to me like, I'm sorry, maybe we should have given you guys more warning. Sucks to suck. Really driving home that whole concept of the cloud being somebody else's computer, not just it being somebody else's computer, but a computer that they can just kind of hit the delete key on without telling you. This is horrible. Just a heads up, I work for a large film studio in Australia. We have now lost gigabytes of critical data, emails, notifications. It's funny because AWS Sydney has been trying to get us into the cloud for years now. I can just point to Influx data and say that's why. I'm sure you will be hearing from them. This just gets sadder and sadder. I'm sorry. Like the more I scroll. We use AWS, AP Southwest Sydney. Last month we paid the service $3,000. There is nothing left now. Now, a lot of this, admittedly, could be fault with the email server kind of thing. Again, like I use Repair Shopper for sending out my emails. I don't send them out manually, and sometimes these emails go out perfectly, and sometimes customers say that they find them in spam. I work with Repair Shopper back and forth from time to time to try to resolve this, and there is not much that I can do. However, here's the thing. If I'm going to be deleting all of your instances and removing all of your shit from an expensive database solution, I might do something to try and see if they were read. So for instance, you can tell if an email has been read. Like, let's say, again, if somebody has some sort of privacy protected email kind of shit where it doesn't load images inside the email, fine. But there, you can do read receipts and stuff like that. You can have like an image inside and see if that image has been viewed by that particular person that you sent the email email to and stuff like that. There's ways to kind of figure out if people are actually getting your emails. So for instance, at my store, we will email people that we are going to recycle their shit. If it is sensitive data, I will email, and if there is no read receipt, I will call them and say, hey, I just want to make sure. I noticed you didn't get this email. I noticed you never responded to us. We have a device here. Usually we just throw the thing away because it's been well over 90 days. This looks like it was a data recovery job. For data recovery jobs, we are going to destroy this to the point where nobody is ever getting the data off of it when we recycle it. I just want to make sure that you know that before we do it. And sometimes they say, and they hang up, in which case I destroy their data. In other instances, they'll say, oh my god, I completely forgot about that. I lost access to my email account. Thank you so much. I'm going to come pick up immediately. Where I'm really, really happy that I made sure that the emails were actually being read before deleting all of their shit. Now the question is, if I can do that on services that sometimes range as low as $75, why can't you for a professional cloud database service that can cost thousands of dollars? Something to think about. And above all, if you run a business that deals with people's sensitive data, there is a way to deal with it, and then there's a way to not deal with it. And again, whether your service costs $10 or $10,000, in my opinion, this is not the way to do outreach. You want to make sure that your customers are actively informed if you are going to be shutting down a server and deleting all their shit with no backup everywhere. There needs to be a lot of informed consent, and it needs to be something better than we created this document in this knowledge base that nobody looks at or knows exists. There really should be better than that, something better than that. There shouldn't be this large number of people that go, yeah, I had no idea this was happening. And again, you can say they're dumb, they didn't back up their shit.
Happy about that.
Again, you can say that, but I'm coming from the business owner's perspective. I am not the person that is using the service. I'm the person that will be providing the service. And from my point of view, if somebody at my company treated somebody's data like that, I'm just going to be real, like they would be fired. As a company that runs professional board repair and professional data recovery services, if my manager dealt with customers in that way, like even if he had been here for 5 or 10 years, love him, but if they dealt with people on a regular basis in this way, there would just be a board flip moment at the company where everybody involved in that ticket was just gone. This is, like, in my opinion, that's completely unacceptable. And yes, the customer should be backing their databases up. Absolutely. That's still completely unacceptable in the service provider, in my opinion. Let me know what you think. Do you think that I'm being too hard on the business, or do you think that I'm not being hard enough in the business? Again, I'm biased here. As the business owner, I'm biased here because I know what it's like to deal with client data. I know what it's like to deal with client data when you have to contact them over and over again to let them know what's going on with it and you're not hearing back from them. And I also know how easy it is to do this type of basic outreach, which is why it pisses me off so much to read shit like this, particularly when it's going to affect large swaths of people, not just one customer. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope we learned something. The cloud is someone else's computer. Have a backup somewhere else.
Okay, man. Okay, so we're good. Thanks for watching, everybody. I will see you on the next show. Take care.